All right, I'll see you in a second. Yeah. You can if you want. Well, hey, I'm live right now, so we have some people hopping in. Are you Ashley Alderson? Hey, everyone. Sara is joining us right now, so we'll be with you in 1 second. Hello. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me? Hello? Can everyone hear me okay? Perfect. I was having a hard time hearing Sara. Sorry for the technical difficulties here. I'm going to stand up if that's okay. Hello? I can't hear you. Hey, can you guys hear Sara too? All right, Sara, they're saying you're muted. Oh, hey, are you muted totally? Can I unmute you? There's always these difficulties. It's a part of technology we've all come to know and love. How's everybody doing? Hey, while Sara's working on her audio, I'd love to know where everyone's from. Can you put in the comments where you're coming from? I'd love to see where we have people from. I'm in Houston, Texas, for the record. And we got people New Jersey, LA, California, Kentucky, New York, Iowa. We're covering all over the place. Texas, fellow Texans. It's always good. I'm excited. We have some fun stuff prepared for you. I think a lot of you know that, for brick and mortar to do well online, it's just a very different game than online only retail. And so we want to talk through what are some of the things that can help succeed online. It's weird doing this without Sara. She's going to be hopping in here in 1 second. And we'll give a couple minutes for people for more to hop in. But while we're waiting, I will go ahead and introduce myself, if that's okay with you guys. Yeah, so you guys know, my name is Josh Orr. I founded a company called Streamline Retail. We help brick and mortar stores succeed online. I've been a part of the hub, gosh, I don't even know how long. gosh, probably like 4 years, something like that. Sara and Ashley and Beth and their whole team are dear friends that I've gotten to know so much over the years in some crazy circumstances. Yeah, so before we get started, if you are on Instagram, I'd love to connect with you. So feel free to follow me at Retail Josh. Sara, you're back.
Can you hear me?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Woo! Yay.
Got it. Computer restarts work wonders. I was just introducing myself to the team or to everyone. Josh Orr. I did not tell any stories about us in Vegas.
Oh, well, that's exciting. Good, because the girls' night, yeah, those are on the down low.
Yes, those are on the down low. No, everything was above board. We just had a fantastic night during Magic with the whole team, and me and their videographer were the only guys in this massive group of girls. And so he and I kept screaming girls' night throughout the night. And it was a fun night, that's for sure. Yeah, so again, I started Streamline Retail, and we help brick and mortar stores that are looking to grow online. Sara, why don't you get us started with what we're talking about today? Oh, did I lose her? We're just having all sorts of technical difficulties. All right, well, just to not waste your time and help everybody to help us move along, here's what I want to talk about today. And what we're going to be chatting through. She's going to jump back in from her phone. There is something about online retail for brick and mortar stores that just looks different. And I think if any of you have been around at all, I think that that it's just a challenging thing. And what is the difference between the ones that are doing it right and the ones that are doing it wrong? Like here is some examples. The one on the left here is a friend of ours that spent a lot of money on their site. We swapped out logos and stuff. There's no Austin Boutique. If your name is Austin Boutique, I'm sorry, that was definitely not the intention here. But they spent around $60,000 on this site, and their store did $3 million last year, and their online store did $6,000. There's something off there. What is it that happened in the wrong way that didn't get them the results they were looking for? Yet the store on the right spent way less than that, and they did, honestly, their store did $3 million, and their online store did about $3 million. And so what are the things that the store on the left did wrong, and what are the things that the store on the right did correctly? Hey, Sara, thanks for joining us.
Hey. All right, I really hope this works now.
Hey, technology, we're just going to roll with it.
All right, good. Hey, do you want to push this live in our group?
Yeah, if you want.
Yes. Okay, so since this Zoom account was set, everything was set up on you, yes, go ahead. You can do it on your end, and I'll jump in the group and approve it real fast. Just put it in the members only group. There you go.
Hey guys, we're going to do this real quick.
I love Zoom in Facebook Lives. I just think it is.
I totally agree.
Awesome.
Hey guys, you're getting to see the sausage get made a little bit. This is what goes on behind the scenes with a webinar. Is you get to see all the things that we focus on behind the scenes, and sometimes right when we hop into it. This is just the way that it works out.
Absolutely. All right. As soon as I get a notification.
Right. I just want to say thank you all for your patience.
Amen to that, right? It is Monday.
It is.
It is.
You guys understand, right?
I think if there is anything truth about retail, it's just a wing it and go with the flow, and you have to be able to adapt, for sure. All right. I'm looking for the
Oh,
notification. Did you have anything pop up on your end, Josh?
hold on. I have to.
That way I can see everybody who's on and their comments. And everybody that's ever considered going live in their group right now is like, oh my gosh, so I'm not the only one that struggles with this. It's going live, and technology is always an issue.
It is. You know what's funny is like I have the fanciest webinar setup that you can imagine, and I honestly just use my computer stuff more than anything. Like I have the fancy camera, I have it all, but it just gets to be too much.
All right, we are there. We're there. Yeah, we're in it.
Hey.
Awesome. Booyah. And only 9 minutes late. Well, welcome to Monday morning. So anyway, I apologize on this stuff on my end. My computer decided to go ahead and just take a big old nap right about 5 minutes to 10. So I know you had already started while you're waiting for me to reboot my computer and everything, but I want to just say now that we're live in the group, for everybody that is kind of late jumping in, welcome. And Josh, thank you so much for being here and doing this today. This is, this is your wheelhouse. And for those of you who have not gotten the opportunity to meet Josh with Streamline Retail, he is an expert when it comes to all things on the retail spectrum, especially on this whole idea of moving into the online spectrum with your existing brick and mortar, and how to overcome some of the big hurdles that we're seeing, especially in 2020. So, Josh, he does a lot of collaborations with us. As he mentioned earlier, we get together most of the time at most of the major markets, right? He speaks at Magic also, plethora of information. And so we wanted to bring him to the community today is, usually at like our Tip Tuesday, but our, make it Monday, whatever we want to do here, because it worked out today for us. But you guys take some notes, settle in. And Josh was just going over some of the websites that he's been working with and some of the things that he's seeing that are winning and some of the places he's seeing e-commerce strategies not succeeding so much. So I'll let you share your screen back, Josh, on that. And we'll
Yeah. So for those of us, so this is, I started, but then here we are live. So the brief stuff to catch everybody back up with where we are. And then what I want to do and what's so unique here is I think you guys know, Sara is like a wealth of knowledge when it comes to retail. And so what's unique here is I get to share some of the pieces that I love to talk about and that I've seen effective for retailers, particularly boutiques. But then Sara gets to add her pieces to it or ask questions, because I would assume if she has it, then there's going to be 10 of you that have the exact same question. Before we do, I have to do the shameless plug, because that's a part of it, as you guys know. So like she said, my name's Josh. If you are on Instagram, I'd love the follow at Retail Josh. I post a ton of stuff about retail and a ton of stuff about the Boutique Hub. We're dear friends. And so, yeah. So what I wanted to really talk about today and talk through with Sara is like the things that really make an impact. The story I like to talk about is like, and I don't know if you're like me, Sara, but every year, like 4 times a year, I'm like going to get ripped. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to lose a bunch of weight. Definitely not during quarantine. And I like do the things. I go to the gym and I work out for 3 or 4 weeks because that's how long it takes to build a habit. And then at the end of that period, a lot of times I didn't get the results that I was looking for. And I don't know if any of you have ever had that happen to you. And what it typically comes down to is I didn't focus on the right things. I wasn't focusing on the things that were going to get me the results I was looking for, whether that was changing my diet or the actual things I was doing in my workout. I was just doing things. I was busy. And I don't know if you guys feel like that in your business a lot, where you're like, I'm slammed. I'm so busy. I'm doing things constantly, but I'm not getting the results that I want. And I would argue, and I think Sara would agree, that it's because a lot of us, including myself sometimes, tend to focus on the wrong areas. And so that's what we want to talk through today is like, where can you put some focus that's going to get you some results online? And so the site on the left, this is a sad one. I mean, they spent $60,000 on this website. It's a lot of money. And last year, their brick and mortar store did about 3 million in their store and about 6,000 online, which is, I don't even know how you could only do 6,000 online when you have a brand like that. The boutique, Austin Boutique's a fake name. I'm not going to shame somebody. And the one on the right spent way less, and they did about 3 million a year. And so what were the things that the store on the left focused on in the wrong way that the store on the right focused on in the correct way? And at the high level, it all comes down to three things. How do you drive enough traffic to your site? How do you convert them once they're there? And then how do you keep them coming back? Getting customers is beyond difficult. So what are the things that keep people coming back and buying again and again and again?
Yeah, that is one of our biggest asked questions in the hub. And we see it across all levels of boutique owners, right? The ones just getting started and the ones that have been around for a long time. And they're like, okay, I have this website. How do I get people here? How do they find me? And, I always try to really think things through on a very even level, right? And I think, okay, fine. You have a brick and mortar. You have the same issues. How do you get people to find you? How do you actually get people to stop their car, park their car, and come in, or stop walking by and actually come in? It just so happens in the world with e-com and selling online, it's an even bigger space and it's even harder to be found. So once you get those people there, yeah, it's, we all know what it's like if a person comes in your brick and mortar and we let them walk out without getting their name, their email address, or selling them anything. But getting them online, you have them for just a few seconds. So yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah. And I think a lot of this comes down to, we tend to, at least I know I do in my own business. A lot of times I'm like, okay, show me what to do. Like, show me where to click, show me the graphic to make, show me the best stuff. And a lot of times, weirdly and frustratingly, the how is less important than the way that you think about it. And I think for brick and mortar stores, there's like this mindset shift that has to happen. And so Sara and I have talked through a few like major shifts, different ways that you need to think about retail, online retail specifically, that might be different from your storefront. So if it's okay with you, we'd love to hop into each of those. And hey, if you resonate with these, like put that in the comments. Like I want to hear from you guys. I'm not like you guys just sit back. Like I want you guys engaged and ask questions. We're going to be going through questions at the end of this, so feel free to submit those. So here are the 5 shifts that I would say that you need to make if you want to succeed online. The big one first, and this is going to be brief, but we're going to have to tackle it, is seeing it from technology like a software to seeing it really as a sales channel and the way you engage your customers. And then another is like this disconnect between brick and mortar and online. The third is about your customer and who you serve. The fourth is the things that we can focus on online, particularly on our homepage. And the fifth is a huge difference between the way a brick and mortar store goes about earning the trust of customers. So why don't we get to the first big one?
Yeah.
And that's like going from technology to sales channel. Like Sara, how much do you hear about like when people are trying to succeed online, like do you hear software questions?
Oh yeah. And I think a lot of times we get overwhelmed with it because so many of the retailers, they have this retail mindset or, we're gifted in the pretty things, and anything techie is like this big black cloud. And, they just kind of feel defeated about it at the beginning, and it can be very overwhelming, and especially some of the verbiage that's used, right? But I think sometimes that we put that focus on is such a technical monster that we can't really adapt or build on, right, and succeed with, versus that whole idea of using it as that sales channel, that connecting point, that collaboration, and looking at it that way, I guess. But yeah, it is a huge question.
It is. And look, technology is important. But why this is here is honestly, I don't want those of you that are less tech savvy or those of you that are more tech savvy to see e-commerce as a technology thing. It's not a software to be understood. I could show you a ton of businesses using all the right tools. They have the best, they have used Shopify and they have all the best apps and they aren't doing that well. And I could show you some that are using all the wrong tools, but they're doing it in the right way and it's landing. And so for those of you that are tech savvy, the big change is just seeing this as a way to engage your customers. And so regardless of the tools, from the graphics you create to the way you organize your navigation and all of that, like there are things that you can control that aren't necessarily these like deep technical things that you work through, but instead are really principles that like you can apply to your site. And with easy to use tools like Canva, like you can start to create an online experience that your customers can engage with. Yeah, and you know, the next one that I want to talk through, and I can go to slides if I need to, but is this idea that I think that brick and mortar stores, a big problem, and I don't know if you see this, is this idea that like the storefront is the center of everything. And so like, have you ever heard like, yeah, my store has a website, we have an Instagram and all of that, but can a store really just have a website? Like if I show you pictures of a trip that I go on, is it the exact same as going on the trip? Like it's a totally different experience.
Yeah, great point. I like that.
Yeah, and so going from, instead of seeing it as like your store being the center of it, instead see your brand. And your brand, if you like even saw it as a person, like it has a personality, it has a voice, it has, of course, like you have fonts and colors and all that, but that's just part of the personality. And so instead of seeing your store as the center and your store has a website and your store has social channels, instead seeing it as your brand at the center. And out of that comes your website, your store experience, your Instagram, all of the ways that people engage you. And I think that this is honestly the most important shift that a brick and mortar store can make, is people are not going to experience your store in the same way they could online by pictures of your store, by trying to organize everything just like you would your storefront. Your storefront has a really unique experience, and that's hard to make come to life online, but your brand can have a personality, and that can come to life online, and it can show itself through your store. And when you see it like this, what gets to be really cool is you can say, okay, what's our personality? How does someone experience us no matter where they are? Well, now you can go back to your storefront and say, is this consistent? Like, is my storefront actually consistent with who my brand is? Because I think a lot of us have this idea of who we want to be, but how to actually get there can be really challenging. And so if we can actually start to like write out, like if my brand was a person, who would they be? How would they be humorous? Or are they like that inspirational person who's the quiet person that when everyone talks, everyone listens? Whatever that, sorry, my ring is going off. Someone's at my door apparently.
I was going to say that is a very common problem or issue that I see with a lot of boutique owners. And actually, when I first built my first Shopify site for our store, I just said that for our store. So our store had a Shopify site, right? I got so excited because of all the pictures and the templates, all that kind of stuff, that I thought it was so pretty. Well, then when I went back and looked at our store, it was two totally different things. Like I wasn't branding them it wasn't one big branded unit. It literally was a Shopify store for our store, and then our brick and mortar. The correlation wasn't there. And, I hear some people say, oh my gosh, the graphics and the this and the that on Shopify, or the templates and the, all the pretty that I can do there, I can easily do that on my website, but then how do I get that back into my store? And so they just don't. And so then what's confusing is when you fall in love with somebody online and then you go into their store, or else you've fallen in love with them in their store and then you go onto their website and you don't get the same vibe, you don't get the same experience, you don't get any of that. It just doesn't make sense. That's a turnoff.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, if you're taking notes, like what I would recommend is once we're done, really ask yourself questions about, okay, if my brand was a person, If my brand was a person, what would they look like? How old would they be? What life stage would they be in? What would their voice be like? What values would drive that person? Whatever that may be. And there's no like right or wrong answers here, but defining that's going to be important. And then you can take that and say, okay, well, if my personality was snarky and humorous and like the friend that people text for advice, then what can my store be like? How could we bring that into our store experience? And then how can we convey that online through our social media calendar and through our website? I think that this is honestly one of the most important things to grasp. But on the flip side of this is the next question. If your brand is a person, we have to know who they're connecting to. And when I ask brick and mortar stores all the time, like, tell me about who you serve. So like, who's your perfect customer? These are the kind of answers I get. And Sara, I'm sure you get plenty. Women between the ages of 20 and 60, income levels between 50,000 and 2 million. We sell to everyone, or whoever has money to pay us, which these days I get that desire.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. We speak to a lot of store owners that this is exactly what they'll say. And I feel like they say it because they don't want to put themselves in a box, or they don't want to narrow it down, and they want to be available to anybody and everybody who has money to pay them.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that.
Yeah, but here's the problem. And with brick and mortar, to a degree, you can get away for a little while with not listening to these rules. You can serve a very broad audience because people come in, and customer service can heal a lot of this problem. But to be honest, I would even say that for brick and mortar, honing in on your customer is so important. I would argue that online, you really need to have one perfect customer. And so instead of serving 20 to 60, no, you serve 35-year-old moms with 2 kids, and that is your perfect customer. Now, and then you can understand, their age, their demographics, and so on. But then you can start to understand, okay, what are their deeper whys? Like, what are their their whys behind what they're doing, their values, their fears, their hopes, their dreams, and all of those things that drive them. So, that mom that we talk about, like her fears are not being attractive anymore and losing her individuality. And so her values are being a good wife and a good mom, but also kind of remaining true to who she is. And your brand can speak to those things. And when you do this, this is going to impact your buying. A lot of us that get way overbought, it's because we're trying to buy for such a broad group that we don't get to hone in on exactly exactly what our perfect customer is wanting right now. This affects our store layout. If you're serving moms, you need to make room for strollers and all of that. But then of course, this is going to impact your design. So if you think about like that perfect customer, and then your brand, that's a person also, if they're best friends, how are they interacting? So a lot of us, like, we might struggle with coming up with copy. Well, this solves that, because how would your brand text your perfect customer? When new arrivals come in, what would that text message be like if 2 friends were texting about a dress that she just had to get?
Yeah, so good. I love this. When we work with a lot of retailers, what I'll say is, like, what is that migraine problem that you're solving for your customer? Mm-hmm. If you're giving them too much and you're so vague and everything, they don't resonate with you. Somebody made the example to me one time about carpet cleaner, and they said, carpet cleaner, if you have a pet throw up on your carpet or spill red wine on your carpet or something, you are going to pay, and you're going to pay good money to get that problem solved. And you want to go to a place that is going to or a brand or a company that's going to specialize in that to get that problem solved, right? And it serves your need. And that's what people will spend money on. So a few slides ago, when you said, who's your ideal customer? And people say, well, anybody that's going to spend money on something. Well, if you are spreading yourself so wide and so thin and trying to attract absolutely everybody, really when that person has a true problem, they're not going to see you as the solution.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to 99% of the time see you as a solution for other people's problems.
Yeah.
And we had this with our store. And when you talk about store layout, I think this is just spot on, because we played around with different types of merchandising layouts in our store, and we would have a very Missy customer, and then we'd have a much more contemporary junior customer. So we tried to put Missy on one wall and junior contemporary down one other side. Well, I promise you, every 60-year-old lady that would come in, she'd swear all we had was junior contemporary stuff. And every junior contemporary person that would come in, they'd swear all we had was Missy. It was like their eye just automatically went to what they didn't need, right?
Yeah.
And we found that to be such a problem in our store, and such a problem, obviously then when we were building our site and how we wanted our eye to move, that we did really get into the idea. We're like, man, we're trying to serve a too wide variety of customers. We're not really speaking, we had to really dive down into who we were solving a problem for.
Yeah. And I know a lot of you are probably like, this idea makes you cringe. You're like, okay, well, I don't want to lose out on all those other people. But here's the weird thing about it is, like, you'll find that when you focus on that one person, that 35-year-old mom with 2 kids, there are 28-year-old women who are in a similar life stage or have similar tastes, and they see themselves similar to that 35-year-old mom, and you're going to catch them. And then there are people like my mother-in-law, like, she was shopping in the Nordstrom Junior section until she was like 55 years old. When I think my wife was the one who was like, look, you've got to stop. And you're going to catch those people also. So it doesn't mean that because I know a lot of you are like, there's not enough 35-year-old moms in my town to support my business. But what's unique about online, and I would argue that when you do this, it's going to help your store also, is people want to belong. There's like little things in the back of our brain that's asking the question, like, is this for me? Is this right for me? Is this product right for me? Is the store right for me? And people want to go somewhere and be like, this was made for me. And when we hone in on who that customer is, we can make something that's for them and they belong. And so it's like that idea of like, if it's everyone's job, it's no one's job. Well, if it's everyone's store, it's no one's store. So hone in on who you're serving and how your brand relates to them. And I know it's weird that we're talking about this when we haven't even touched a website yet. But I mean, honestly, like when we work with retailers, these 2 areas are the first 2 that we have to tackle, because we can't touch a website without honing in on who we are and how we're serving who it is that we serve.
Yeah. Josh, I'm going to go back before you jump into your other slides. You mentioned at the very beginning about, at the beginning of the year, whatever you were talking, so many people decide they're going to lose weight and they're going to go to the gym and all this stuff. And I promise the majority of the people that say they're going to do that go out and invest in a wardrobe to do that. That's their focus. Like, I want to get the right clothes, but they're not getting their mind wrapped around the fact that it's going to stink. They're going to, they are going to have to put out a lot of work. They're going to have to get it on a schedule. They're going to have to let their entire family know they're not going out for popcorn and pizza every, Friday night. They are committed to something. That's that mindset shift. But so much of the time, the focus on I'm going to join a gym and lose weight is, what kind of clothes can I buy and how do I look when I go do it, which does not resonate with success. And so what we're talking about right here sounds pretty common, but at the same time, if our mind's not wrapped around this and have a plan and understand who we're really serving, we're no better than the person getting dressed up to go to the gym that's going to quit, and we're going to do it all for nothing. So anyway, that's what I keep thinking about when I think about the mindset shift of actually building this brand and making it stick with some people.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I'm very, very guilty. I think a new wardrobe has happened every time that happens. So yeah, definitely guilty there. So here's what I want to get into next is some practical site things. And honestly, like, take to the comments, whether you're on Facebook or in Zoom. I'll see the ones in Zoom. I don't know if you're in the one.
I've been replying back to the ones I'm not texting anybody when I'm on my phone here. I'm replying back on my phone, Josh. So we're getting them.
Oh, that's awesome. Sorry, I'm turning my notifications off. Should have done that much earlier. So here is that example site from earlier. So let's talk through the problems with this homepage, and then some things that you could turn around and do differently. And my hope is that some of you would have just a few tweaks that you could leave today and easily go make some changes. So let's look at this site. It's not an ugly site. I mean, this was the one that spent like $60K on their website. Can you imagine spending $60,000 on your website, Sarah?
No, that's a lot. That is a lot.
Yeah, no, I would not do that. So here are the 3 areas that I want to point you to. So just 3 major changes. So first, this navigation, super cluttered. A lot of us think that by putting all of this stuff up there that we're really helping our customer, when what we're doing is hurting our customer. We're not making it easy for them to get around your site. The second is that hero. The hero is the big image at the top of your website. And I like to talk about this term. It's called above the fold. And what that means, like if you have a newspaper, you're in line at Starbucks, and before you check out, you see there's typically a newsstand with like the New York Times, and it's folded in half, and everything above that fold, the goal of it is to entice you to want to pick it up and read the rest of that newspaper. Your website's the exact same. Is everything at that top section, the goal is to entice them to want to then continue to scroll or navigate around. And so what we have for that main hero is so important. And this is just a picture of the store, which if you want to write something down, like pictures of your store are not the same as experiencing your store. Pictures of that Disney World trip are not the same as visiting Disney World. And then the last is, if I actually wanted to shop from this section, or if I asked you right now, like, hey, what's my brand about right now? What kind of things am I getting in? What lines are a priority for my brand? You'd have no idea. You have no way to figure that out, or even to buy. You might have to scroll all the way to the bottom, which some people just don't do. So we made some improvements, and let's just point out some basic things. First, we simplified the navigation a ton, and some, here we have new arrivals, dresses, tops, bottoms, outerwear, shoes, accessories, and then sale. Now, one that I would add to this that is so big is I like to have both new arrivals, but then also consider adding like a curated collection to your main navigation. And so like right now, that might mean fall essentials, or that might be back to school, or whatever that is for your perfect customer. Because you're going to have 3 people that visit your site. You have the person who's just browsing, and they're just going to land on your page, and wherever they came from, whether it's Instagram or they went to it on purpose, and they're just browsing. You have your person who kind of knows what they're looking for. They're looking for a pair of shorts. They don't know what shorts, but they just know they're looking for shorts. And then you have that person who knows exactly what they're looking for. Well, what those curated collections do is they help the experience of that browser, the person who's just coming, and you get a chance to show what is your brand about right now. If you're trying to get people to buy more than one thing, we don't want to have to make them go to tops and then bottoms and then outerwear. We want them to have a whole page that's not just your new arrivals, but what are you focused on in your brand, and what might help them get to what they're wanting. So this can be either like a whole curated thing like fall essentials, or this could be looks. This could be like a, going back to the office look whenever that happens someday, or a work from home, or whatever you want to do. So maybe you're going to sell a bunch of tops that from the top up, you look great with a bunch of joggers or whatever for the bottom half.
Yeah, I love the collection. Me personally as a shopper, when I am jumping on somebody's site and I find a collection there that speaks to me, that just, it's like a magnet. I have to open it and see what is in there, because I do work from home. The work from home collections usually get me on, and that would include what you're just talking about, Josh, the blazers on top and my favorite little sweats on the bottom, but that's.
Are you wearing sweatpants?
Of course I am. Yeah, absolutely. Why would I not be?
That's awesome. I'm a 3 on the Enneagram, so I I have to get like dressed every morning. It's annoying.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is we actually featured some items. We put in this situation, it's feeding from the new arrivals. You might want to consider feeding this from a different collection. Something that I really like here and that I really like to do is I say that your homepage needs to have 3 things. And I'm getting off on something random, but it's a framework that I think will help you. I call it the 3 S's. The first one is selection. You need to show that you have plenty of stuff. The next is sale. You need to, from your homepage, visibly have things that someone can get a discount on, because some of your customers, that's what they shop for. But then the third, I think, is a little counterintuitive, and it's scarcity. It's this idea that you can't get everything. And so I actually love featuring sold out items on the homepage. And what that does is it triggers something in the brain that says, oh, I need to buy this now because this might sell out too. And so I know a lot of us, it's annoying to have to go through and like remove items as they sell out, but consider leaving items sold out for a little while. Don't remove all of those, because that triggers in the brain this idea of like, well, nothing's sold out, so I can get everything whenever I want, and they can come back and get this next week. Well, with sold out items, they now know, hey, I need to get this right now. So again, selection, sale, scarcity. Those are the 3 things that I think every homepage needs. And then
I into the comments, Josh, on our Facebook feed here, and yeah, those are 3 big ones. I like those.
Yeah. So, and then the 3 huge changes that we made: we cleaned up the navigation, we improved the hero. Instead of making it about our store, we thought, okay, well, if someone walks in and they experience our store, what are they feeling? What emotion should they get when they walk in? Well, we want to do the same thing online. So we made a hero that spoke to that. And then we actually featured some items on the homepage. And hey, to help with this, those of you that registered, I'll just send these to you. These are some Canva templates for your hero. It's in the size that fits most Shopify themes. Those of you that are joining from Facebook, if you go to streamlineretail.com/theboutiquehub, you can put in your info and we'll send you these templates and like a finding your perfect customer worksheet that you can go through just to help move this a little bit along. It's just some basic design templates, obviously in Canva, because that's the easiest to use. Yeah, and so I'll skip ahead a little bit because we want to respect your time and we want to give plenty of time for Q&A. And I want to address this idea of earning trust. Trust is really one of the most important things for online retail. People have to know that you're a real brand. They have to know who you are. And when you're a storefront, like, people trust you because they're talking to you. You're right in front of them. They can touch the merchandise and feel that it's real and genuine and all of that. But online, it's a little more challenging. And so I got this. This is like the worst product page I've ever found. And I want to point out just a few things about it that are off. The images aren't terrible, but the product name, this is obviously like a crappy name from a point of sale system.
You mean you're not going to search for that?
W embroidered pants?
Yeah, embroidered pants.
I mean, I do.
You do all the, yes, I do often.
Yeah, and it says black and or blue tank, which is not accurate.
Oh, that's...
Next, how do you wash this?
It happens often. It happens often. I mean, I talk to a lot of store owners that are like, oh, I just want to get it live on the site. And they push it live and then they forget to ever go back and edit, or they don't have a system in place to make sure that the info is proper. And yeah, so we see this a lot.
Yeah, especially for brick and mortar, more than online only. The reason being is point of sale integrations. Is, you know, the especially those of you that have been retail a while, you're familiar with the fact that you probably do everything in all caps because some terrible person a long time ago decided that was going to be the retail norm. And then there's no product descriptions. Some other things. How do you wash this? When would you wear it? Why should you buy this? None of those things are answered. And a random like psychology one is the eye moves left to right. It does not go like this. It just goes this way. well, if I want to buy this item, where does my eye have to go? It has to go to the bottom. That's not natural. And so we made some minor improvements here. First, we named the item embroidered white pants because that's what it is. And then we added some copy that just pushes this item. Why should you buy this? We want to appeal to their emotions of why this item fits them. But then we provided some of the more logical pieces. Every item is going to appeal to their emotions and then their logic. So we provide wash information and so on. We like to add tabs of like model info, what size she's wearing, what are her measurements, and so on. And then shipping and returns. This is a minor one, but by linking to this on your product page, what you're doing is you're preventing them from clicking somewhere else. And when people click onto that returns page, how many of them are going to click back to the product page? And let's even assume most do. Let's say 75% go back to where they were. Great. We just lost 25% of those people to them needing to click somewhere else. So why not put that information on the page? We put some shipping details of like how quickly we ship, and we put our return policy directly on the product page. This prevents people from having to navigate everywhere. And at the end of the day, this helps them add to their cart and complete their purchase much faster. So those are the basic things. So again, and then let's go through some questions. Please don't see this as like a technology to be understood. It's not a software issue. It is a sales channel. Next is understand that your brand, your store is not your brand. Your brand is its own thing, and that has a store experience and it has an online one. Next is serve one customer and understand like how would they be friends? And that can help you in choosing what your design should look like, what kind of copy you should write, and so on. On your homepage, make sure that you are, that you are appealing to them emotionally, that you are representing your brand well. And on the product page, give them details that assure them that one, they're actually going to get the item, but appeal to them emotionally with when they would wear it, why they should buy it, and then their logic piece. So that's like the high level stuff. Those of you that hopped in late, that's what we talked about. So Sarah, unless you have stuff to add, let's get some questions.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I always need to remind myself, and I need to remind myself when I'm coaching and collaborating with other boutique owners, and I always had to tell myself this when I presented myself with a question about my customers in the store. I'd always go back to, what do I like as the shopper? What attracts me and what makes me take action as a shopper? I'm a busy mom. I have all of these things, going on. And so if it would make me convert, if it would make me stay on the page, if it would answer my questions to be able to reduce that buyer's remorse, so to speak, like you did on that page with all the things that I might need to know to, and make me feel comfortable in the purchase, that's obviously a win. And, your example of if you have to jump off to go find that return policy, man, if it's anything like my phone and the time it takes me to jump off or go find that, I've already gotten 6 other Facebook messages or prompts or a text message or an email that popped up that all of a sudden made my eye and my mind go, oh shoot, I better jump over there. And then I forget about what I was looking at. So I like very good information.
Yeah. Right. And it's never malicious. Like people are not saying like, oh, I'm not interested in that anymore. It's just attention span. People just forget. They just go away from the page and then they're not going to go back because they forgot about it. And so that's what we're trying to prevent, is just make that such a small, like it's such a seamless thing.
Oh gosh, so true, so true. Okay, so let's see. I want to make sure I get your email address in the comments here because some people do definitely want to reach out to you. And let's see, somebody was asking about comments sold. I'm not sure if that person, where was that at? It just said, what if we use comments sold? Shayla, I'm not sure what that was in reference to. I don't know if that was maybe as far as comments sold as a e-commerce solution. I'm guessing that is what she meant. So maybe she'll respond back. And then, a lot of agrees. A lot of, that's me. A lot of people say, definitely resonating with what you're talking about.
Well, hey, real quick, let me address some comment sold stuff. Yeah, I love comment sold. And I think that is a brilliant thing for online retail. But it still comes back to those the second and third thing we talked about, understanding your brand and understanding your perfect customer. Your comment sold experience it's just another channel that you get the opportunity to engage your perfect customer. And what it also does is it should answer that question of if it's right for you. Some of you don't have perfect customers that are buying and comment selling on Facebook Lives. And so just because it's working for everyone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you, because it's not your perfect customer. Now, some of your perfect customers, they're never buying online. Their e-commerce just isn't their thing, and they are comment selling, and they are buying through lives. And great, that's an awesome opportunity for you. And so it comes down to those two things, is understanding how you can relate, and then you can build that live experience around who your brand should be. And it should be just like your store and just like your site, a similar experience. So if you're snarky, then great, get on and be really funny and snarky. But if you're like serious and like inspirational, then great, be on and be people's chicken soup for the soul once a week or 5 times a week. And hey, I put a link, I'll put it in the Facebook right after this. Those of you that are wanting to connect, I have a link where we can do like a strategy session. So it's like a free 30-minute call. So those of you that have storefronts that are looking to grow online, we can connect on a brief call. You'll book a time and you'll just answer a few questions about your store, and we can connect on that. So I'll put that on Facebook as well. And I can email you. If you push your email, I'll reach out as well.
Perfect. Yeah, there's some few people dropping their email address in the group as well, or in the thread. Perfect. Let's see. Somebody was asking about, are there tabs like that for Shopify? Allison, I'm wondering if she means tabs like that. I think she dropped that in when you were talking about that main page, as far as how you relocated that, all the info.
I think what she's talking about is the product page. And yes, there's an app that does that. You'll have to forgive me for not remembering the name of the app. So there's an app that does it where you just have to format your like long product description well, and then it will push those to different tabs appropriately. So I can figure out what that is, and I can post that in the comments once we're done.
Perfect. She likes that. Good. 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 All right. What else, guys? I know building your platforms and targeting your customers is always tough. And going into fourth quarter, I think if you're not there yet, we really need to be. This is, I don't, obviously, we've seen such a huge shift in targeting customers and getting our customers to take action this year, and what their pain points are and what they're dealing with. And, who knows what the next few months are going to bring. And I don't see retail ever going back to what it was before. So those of us that have, sat on the fence and thought, oh, I need to really get in this e-commerce game, and I need to have that online presence, and I need to do this. But, I've been pretty consistent in the brick and mortar age. Josh, what advice do you have for them? Because they're out there for sure, still to this day.
Oh yeah, I talk to them daily. Look, there is never, it's just like getting in shape. We're going to keep going back to that. Just because you haven't been focusing on the right diet and the right exercise doesn't mean, just because you're 45 doesn't mean that your life's over and you can never do it. Like, you can turn around. And I think, especially with everything going on, we've realized like e-commerce, what maybe a year ago was like okay, I'll get to it, is now if we are going to thrive, we have to reach our customers wherever they are. And so for those of you that are doing it, I would say first, just get started. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed with perfection or thinking that you're going to be Red Dress Boutique or the huge names that you're not going to be them. And you know what? Your site probably is going to be pretty bad at first. And that's okay, because honestly, not that many people are going to look at it. But over time, as you get those principles and you focus on the right things, it'll get better, and your traffic will improve and your sales will improve, and you'll learn what lands with your customer. Hey, we got, how long should we keep sold out inventory visible? That really is up to you. I would say that it depends on how quickly your stuff is turning. So if you're You know, if you're bringing in whole launches, 20, 30 items every week, then honestly, every week you can go pull all your sold out items and they'll replace themselves quickly. If you're just starting out and you're only bringing in 3, 4, 5 styles a week, then you might consider leaving up a sold out item a few weeks just to kind of leave that mental trigger of I need to buy this now.
Yeah. Yeah, I will just add in here, as far as a lot of these questions and, feeling like you are the odd man out, if you are that retailer that has not taken the plunge and jumped in, we see it all the time in our community. And that's one thing I think the hub is so good about is collaborating and, building people up and working together and understanding you're not in this alone. If anybody listening or watching this today feels like they are literally the only person that hasn't jumped into the e-commerce game, or they're just fearful, or the technology, like you said at the beginning, is hard, it's not. And we hear that daily in the hub and people supporting each other in that effort. And, we are big to bring experts like Josh in and collaborate together. And so that way everybody can work together to achieve this, what the retail world needs to be in the next, 5-10 years. And I was reading something the other day saying that retail in 2020 immediately launched into retail of 2030, just because of, how fast we moved over the last 6 months, that over time by 2030, people probably all would have had that e-commerce presence. Well, now fast forward, enter COVID, and people just had to get on the fast track. And, you can't do all these things on your own. And, that's why we really want to work with people like Josh. And, the hub is so big in education and collaborating together, because guys, we all know that even though we might've just advanced 10 years, we didn't get 10 more years worth of time to do it. And our day is 24 hours a day, and we do what we do, and we do that, then you should just do that best. Right. And then go out and find the people that can really help you. And so Josh, I thank you very much for, all the education you bring to our members as well and into the retail space. And you guys do a great job.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's amazing joining you. And thank you all for hopping in. Again, if you do want to connect, I did put the link both in Facebook and in the Zoom chat. So you can book that call there. Those of you that are joining from Facebook, if you want the free resources, you can go to streamlineretail.com/theboutique-hub, and we'll get those sent to you. But otherwise, and then those of you that registered, I'll just email those out once this is done, along with the replay. Sara, thank you for having me.
Oh man, you bet. And hopefully pretty soon we'll get to go back to Magic or Dallas or someplace so we can all collaborate together in person.
I cannot wait. I'm so ready to go back to market. Anyone else feel that way?
Oh man, I know. Did you go to Dallas recently? You didn't probably get up there. No. A lot of our hub members did, and they said it was a great show. I think they were just really needing to get out and go see things. And
Yeah, we'll get
we all need it. We're all social beings, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're getting lots of love and hearts about that, about getting back to market and seeing everybody. So
yeah. All right. Well, hey everyone, thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Josh. You guys all have a great day, and we'll catch you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.